All right, so my guest of honor is a licensed master social worker and licensed therapist. She's a wife, a mom of two, and a mentor. She is a believer and she is also an advocate for mental, emotional, and spiritual wellness. She believes that God has called her to work with those who have struggled with their identity and utilizing their voice to create a ripple effect of impact in their lives. She is the founder and creator of the Silent Survivors Movement, and she's an author of an amazing book called Misidentified, Turning Hopelessness into Hopefulness. This book right here, y'all need to go get it. And ladies and gents, my guest of honor is Lakili Hampton, my sister. How are you, sis?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm hanging in there.
Real quick, tell them where they can get this book real quick before we
You
start.
can get it. You can get it on Amazon. So you can get the Kindle version or you can get a physical copy. The Kindle version is $15. The physical copy is $20. It is well worth the money.
It is.
Well worth it.
And it's an easy read too.
It is. I made sure it was an easy read because I remember in college I hated reading long books and long chapters. So I try to get short, sweet, to the point, while also trying to feed your soul at the same time.
And it's greatly appreciated.
Flashbacks.
Flashback. Oh Lord. Well, we're gonna flashback a little bit in this interview, so it's okay. Well, I wanted to interview you because I feel like a lot of people think that identity or becoming who you're supposed to be happens overnight, especially with this like microwavable world we live in with social media.
Yeah.
So I had to bring you on so you can help us work through these kinks because people, especially our youth, they need that guidance. And like,
Yeah.
so I'm glad that you do what you do.
Yeah, I learned real quick that your identity, it doesn't constantly change, but you're always evolving in different ways.
Right.
So just because you're evolving don't necessarily mean you're changing. You evolve better, you get better over time as you get older. Uh, Definitely within them teen years, 'cause who I was, even who I was like, 10 years ago is different who I am now, going
Mm-hmm.
into my 30s. Like I'm on the cusp of
Woo!
30. On the cusp of 30. But even who I was, even when I got married, I was in the early 20s when I got married. Totally
Mm-hmm.
different person. Totally different. So identity is always evolving.
Yeah,
Always.
I definitely agree. What will take us a little bit through your journey? Like you can start in the early years if you want to, or you can start from college until now, and we can start talking about that. Take us through a little bit of your journey. How do we get to see this Lakili Hampton that sits before us now?
Child's our prayers. No, it was. But
Just a little bit.
when I was, I think 13 is when I started really, really struggling with my identity. I had
Mm-hmm.
gone through molestation by a close family member. Never told anyone about it, but one person, and that
Mm-hmm.
one person was the only person that knew for about, until I met my husband. So that really, because I started questioning myself. I started questioning God because this person was very close to church. So everything that I had known all the way up until 13 got rocked at
Mm-hmm.
13 when this person did that to me. And so I
Mm-hmm.
went through a series of, you know, do I just be quiet? Do I tell someone? If I tell someone, how is this going to affect my relationship? And so ultimately I got silent. That was a
Mm-hmm.
period of time where I got really silent. Um, I started changing how I looked. I started doing more things to please other people
Mm-hmm.
because I was wearing a mask. And that lasted all the way up until, and I was in Mississippi then. So then we moved to Texas, and I'm like, okay, I'm going into a new area, new people, don't know who I'm going to come across. And so it's kind of like I built another mask. I was working, I was going to school, having friends, um, had gotten really close to one person who was going through her own identity struggles at that point because she was bouncing her own stuff. And what I thought was a best friend turned out to be felt romantic. And then I was like, okay, this is a whole new thing I'm not used to. And I
Right.
struggle with it went from struggling with, do I talk, do I be myself, to struggling with, well, who am I really? Like, do I like girls? Do I like boys? Do I like both? Like, and I
Mm-hmm.
knew that I grew up in, I tell people all the time, I grew up in religion, old
Yeah.
Baptist church, where it's preached is wrong, is wrong, is wrong, you're going to hell. And so I struggled with then spirituality because I'm like, well, God ain't gonna like me no way. I'm just gonna do what I want to do. I don't care.
Yeah.
And then I struggled in my relationship with my mom because she didn't understand. So it was a series of things. Went to college, kind of the same thing,
Cycles.
except it is. I literally lived in a cycle, but when I went to college, it was more so I have access to all these people, need to figure out where I fit in the crowd. Who am I going to be friends with? What am I going to do? I was in this relationship with the same person, and I'm like, looking at her like, this now don't feel like it felt when I was 16. And so I went through changing how I looked. I had short hair. I used to dress like a little boy. I used to wear really baggy clothes because I was very self-conscious about everything. And then
Yeah.
plus, when it came down to school, I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself, to be
Yeah.
honest. So
Like
I
most kids.
literally, yeah, like I went to college for nursing because my mom told me nurses make more money and I needed to go to school for a career that made more money. And I
Wow.
started applying to nursing school and getting rejected. And I'm like, why am I getting rejected? And I already dealt with the spirit of rejection obviously before then. So to add it on to education was even worse.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a struggle. And so I ended up breaking off that relationship, tried to remain friends with that person. She went through her grief amongst other things that she was dealing with. And then I went into this mode of, okay, what do you want to do with yourself? That was
Right.
in the time I was partying, I was drinking, I was pledging, I was doing a whole lot at once trying to figure out like who is this Keely? And I
Mm-hmm.
think the real big turning point was September 25th, 2010. That's when my childhood best friend got killed in a car accident. And that took me deeper into this depression. And I had to figure out like what I was gonna do with myself. Like you can't sit here. You can't you can grieve, but you need to figure out how to get yourself out of this. And
Yeah.
so from 2010 on, I was in that mode of okay, I need to live for myself, figure out what I like, who I like, what I want to be. Then I
Yeah.
got into another relationship that was not healthy. Oh,
It's
so
okay.
I just started noticing then I'm like, okay, I'm picking people that I feel like I need to please versus worrying about myself,
Mm-hmm.
really. And so I got into that relationship, thought it was good, and realized I was changing. I was isolating myself. He was mentally abusive, and I didn't know that until
Mm-hmm.
you don't know you're going through certain types of abuse until you come out of it and you look back like, I really let this person or this situation change everything about me.
Yeah.
So once I broke out of that relationship, which took a long time, I realized my husband was the only person that was consistent in all the evolving that I did. He was like a consistent friend. He never
Mm-hmm.
wanted me to change who I was, but he always noticed when I changed. He's
Yeah.
like, you're changing every other week. You changing. You're a different person. You with somebody else, or you talk to somebody else. And so at that point, me and him became close. I joined another church. I really started seeking God for myself at
Yeah.
that point. I had to because I was lost then. Because I'm like, I can't get in another relationship. You know, I finally had changed my major in school, and I was happy. Even though they
Mm-hmm.
say social workers don't make money, I started figuring out what Keely liked
Yeah.
and who Keely was. And when I figured that out, then that's when God started opening these doors for me to get involved on campus and things beyond partying and drinking. Like other things became important to me.
Right.
So, and then becoming friends with my husband was a big thing for me because he allowed me to be who I am, who I truly was, even with all my extra. Y'all, I was ridiculous with him. I was ridiculous with him, but he was patient. He was patient.
Yeah.
He's still patient, but and he allowed me. He courted me. He didn't want to jump into things, and that was
Exactly.
important. Yeah, I think a
Exactly.
lot of people feel like they got to jump from relationship to relationship and then go straight to dating, talking about marriage. We actually courted and were friends first, and that felt good.
That's a good
So,
thing, people.
oh, it is. Courting is important. Courting is so important because that allows that person to get to know you, you get to know them, and then at the
Hmm.
same time, there's no pressure. I
Yeah,
didn't have the pressure to be perfect. I
yeah,
didn't have the pressure to perform or pretend like I had it all together because he was my friend. So if I was a mess, I was a mess,
right.
and he was okay with that.
And that's the
And
major key
so,
too. That's the major key.
yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize it. I think now we're like you said, it's a microwavable culture. So
Yeah,
people just want it quick, quick, quick. Like I see a lot of people now. I see, we're talking about the relationship goals book is popular, but now people are they're honing in on the marriage part and
yeah.
not really paying attention to what he talks about. Because it's more than just the we're gonna date, we're gonna get engaged, we're gonna get married. Like it's so
It's a
much
process.
more. It literally is a
It's a
process.
process. That's why I ain't in it. Because it's a process right now. Nah, I'm just kidding. I mean, ultimately I'll get there, but right now I know me well enough to know that I'm not ready for that. You
Right.
know? So
Right.
that's the thing. Like you gotta know yourself and what you're willing to deal with too.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I told him. I was like, I'm not. Look, I'm a mess, and I ain't trying to jack up your life while I'm over here trying to. I'm damaged goods right now. Let me get myself straight first.
Hmm.
And he was okay with that, and he was very patient with that. He wasn't like, "You gonna be my girlfriend today, tomorrow, next week? How many times we
Yeah.
got to talk on the phone?" It was literally he told me, "Take your time, be okay with being with you first,
Yeah.
and then I'll come in and do my part."
Right.
Because if I'm not, I think people get that 50-50. There's no such thing as 50-50 in relationships.
Oh,
However, I don't want to be a 50% person getting with a 50% person trying to make it 100%. I need to be
right.
100% whole
Yeah.
first.
Or close to it.
That's or close to it. I'm telling you. And then, like I
Sheesh.
said, identity evolves so much that you may never feel 100%. But if you can get 90, 95 to 98, like you good. But if you 50, 45, 20, and you want an 80% to come in and fix you,
Nah.
you lost.
I
You
need I,
lost, man.
I need y'all to be like this good old hand sanitizer. I mean like bleach. 99.9% kill kills the bacteria.
Kills the bacteria. Don't be bringing that extra. We
So
can't.
we
You
bringing
bringing
that.
yours and mine.
No Rona in here. None of that.
Nah, we don't need that in our lives. Nah, and it doesn't help that if you don't know who you are. How do you expect someone to love you? You can't tell them how to love you.
Right.
That's part of your identity. Self love is a huge part, and that was the part that I was missing.
Yeah.
Really,
That's the biggest part. I was just about to ask you, what do you think the components of identity are? Like, what do you think makes up an identity? And you can just speak for yourself or just in general.
I'm gonna speak for me because it may vary for different people, but I know for
Right.
me, for my identity, it was self love, wholeness, because I can't be a fraction of a person and think that I know who I am because that's
Yeah.
not necessarily true.
Yeah.
Um, definitely, definitely confidence. And when I say confidence, it doesn't always mean being physically confident. It's just being confident to speak up and say, this is what I'm willing to accept and this is what I'm not. You can have your boundaries. I talked to a friend about that yesterday, even about it got deep about boundaries even in the bedroom, but
Yeah.
having boundaries for
Period.
yourself. Yeah. And when I say boundaries, it's like if if I wouldn't talk to my 4-year-old like that, I'm not gonna let you talk to me like that. If
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't, if I'm not willing to, if that's something that's gonna make me question myself, I don't want it.
Right.
I
That's
don't
a
want it.
that's a big thing. Like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and finish, and then we're gonna talk about that because when we're dealing with students, I think that's a major thing,
Hmm.
boundaries. But you go ahead and finish.
And then I think the other thing, I mean, of course, Christ is a huge part of my identity because without Christ, I'm telling you, I would be a hot mess out here in these
Yeah.
streets. And I
Same
know a
here.
lot of people are in a space where they question God or they feel like they can't. I question God a lot. I still do. And I don't mean like question who he is. I question him like, you sure that's what you want me to do?
All right.
Are you sure?
Sweet baby
Are you
Jesus,
sure? Why?
really?
It's
Ser-
like, yeah, sometimes I'll be like, why I gotta? And here's the thing, God has had me pray for people that I'd be like, "Well, I gotta pray for them." I'm not gonna lie about it. Like, why I gotta
Yeah,
pray for them? You know how I
that's
feel,
real.
but it's a part of. I think he knows that he's our father, he daddy, so he knows. Don't question me. I know you're gonna question me anyway. Don't question me. Just do it.
Yeah. He gonna make you do all kind of stuff you don't want to do because you grow when you're uncomfortable. So
Hmm.
whenever you're like in a state of thinking you cool, like you cruising, oh just wait.
Yes.
Oh just wait.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
gonna be like
I mean, I tell people all. I just told someone, I said I did a 3-day dry fast last year, and they looked at me. They were like, "Why would you do that?" Believe me, who want to go 3 days without eating? Not me,
right.
not your girl. But I did it, and it was because it humbled me,
You
and it
desperate for
taught me,
something.
man. And I
Yeah.
got it. I
Yep.
got it, and I really
Yeah.
believe that's why I finished my book, because I was sure putting that off for a long time.
See, and you know what's crazy? That sacrifice, that's a key too. People have to realize that you're not gonna get something for nothing. And
Hmm.
like whenever you're willing to give something up or whatever it is you desperate for, like whether that be information, like something for
Hmm.
God to speak to you, or just like clarity, just anything from God, like being willing to sacrifice the things you feel like you love the most is a surrender.
It
So
is.
I think when you understand the power of being in the position of surrender, like literally like this, um, it changes your entire life. Like God definitely has a way of humbling you himself, but he would like for you to humble yourself first
Hmm.
instead of making him do it, because I don't ever want to be in a position where he has to demand my attention again, nor do
Nope.
I ever want to have to be broken down the way I've been broken down before. So,
No, I'll tell anyone I don't want that whooping, because that's what
no,
it is. I don't want that whooping.
nah, fam,
And I
we
mean, when
good.
they say surrender, that means literally I've had 10-year friendships that I had to close the door on, and
Yeah,
they come back around. But in that season that I had to close the door, I did not understand why God put me in a quiet place for like a year. People were like, "You literally disappeared off the map." Like the people that
mhm,
knew, like you knew, some of my closest friends,
yeah,
they knew where I was, but I was in a space where I was so desperate to hear God that I had to close the door on relationships and friendships, even with my family members. I had to like slow down going around family members, and I
it
still
has to get
do.
like that. It has to
It
get like
does,
that sometimes. Yeah,
and it's necessary because I know that I'm the bloodline breaker in my family, so it's necessary.
yeah,
So the bloodline breaker, you gonna catch it. You
yeah,
gonna catch it because you're the
from
one that's trying
every
to make it
direction,
different. Yeah,
every
you're the one that's trying to change how it has been in your family. So you're coming up against a lot of attacks,
like
left and
decades
right.
of stuff. You talking about,
Yes.
it's not like just stuff that just happened in the past year. You talking about healing generational
Yes.
warping things. So I mean, I know earlier you said that self-love is very important. And so basically, do you believe how you feel about yourself defines your identity and how you let people treat you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if I don't view myself as valuable, I'm gonna allow someone else to come in and treat me like I don't matter.
Or
And I
define
it,
you.
or define, yes. And it took me going through, like I said, several relationships. And it's not just relationships intimately. I think when we say relationships, people think intimate relationships. That's
Yeah.
even with your family.
And
There are
friends.
some things that I think I say family because family tends to be the hardest one for a
Yeah.
lot of people, because you're just like, well, they family. That's my mama. That's my dad. That, but you get to a place where you realize sometimes your family's not always. Sometimes your family can be your biggest setback in some
Yeah.
situations, and they can be
Hindrance.
some of the biggest. And I hate to use the term demons, but they can be some of the spirits that really attack you the most. And I think
Mm-hmm.
I've gone through that even recent within the last few months,
Yeah.
where I had to recognize, like, I have to cut off a relationship with a family member because this is not okay. Like, I wouldn't do this to myself, so why would I allow this person to do this to me? I love me too much to allow you to come in and try to change who I know I am and who God told me I am.
Right.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're willing to let someone come in and treat you like trash, you got to do some. I call it do a heart check.
Yeah,
You
often
got to do a
though,
heart check.
not just one time.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
so since you are the therapist, I'm just the life coach, but you're an actual therapist, you know. Can you give the people a couple of steps to um figuring out their identity, or like starting the process of trying to figure out who they are?
It's gonna look different for different people, but
Right.
I always start with go back to your childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to your childhood, and I do this with a lot of my clients. Let's talk about how you viewed your childhood. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
were you like as a kid? Like, what was your family dynamic like? Like, what was a normal day in the house? And a lot of
Right.
times you will find a root right there,
Yeah.
because
True.
I mean, you'll have a root of a person like, oh, I grew up in a two-parent household. Okay, how was your bond with your mom and your dad? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
my dad really wasn't there. Or when he was there, he was mean. Or, if he was there, me and my dad got along, but my mom was doing whatever. And how did that
Yeah.
make you feel? Because a lot of the stuff um, that starts to come up is usually it's been rooted there.
Yeah.
When a lot of people do go back to their childhood, rejection didn't just start because you were bullied in high school.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff started at home. Or why
Mm-hmm.
you feel the need to fight didn't start because you got with the wrong person in school and y'all used to beat people up, or they beat you up, so you put up your boundaries. Sometimes it happens, but a lot of it starts at the fight started at home. You had to defend yourself at home, so you took on a defensive identity as a
Yeah.
whole.
It became
And
who
then
you were, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look at a lot of bullies, I'm learning, if you look at a lot of bullies, they're usually getting bullied at home. And so when I leave the house, I'm not gonna let nobody know that when I'm at home, I'm weak. So when I go out
Right.
into the streets, I have to put on this persona. So
Yep.
I always start with the childhood, because what happens around up until the age of 5 is really important.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't think that it is. That's when your personality starts to develop. That's when, of course, your brain is a sponge. So you soak up so much
Everything.
information.
Yeah.
Yes. And then a lot of trauma, if a kid experiences trauma from even babies up until age 5, that becomes rooted in them.
Yeah.
So while we call some of these kids bad, or even when you see some kids that are diagnosed with all these diagnoses, don't get me started on that, but some
Yeah.
diagnoses at certain
Fake
ages,
news.
man, it's really, they don't do a study of what has this child really gone through that has contributed to what the behaviors that we're seeing now. So
Right.
I always go back to your childhood. Like, that's the first thing I tell people. If you want to know your identity, let's start at childhood.
Okay.
And then
That's good.
I tell people, look at your circle. How many times have you changed your circle? And why
Mm.
did you change your circle so many times? Was it that you hung out with that person and they betrayed you? What were you feeling when they betrayed you? Were you angry? Were you depressed? Were you suicidal? Were you homicidal? Those things matter, because as you progress, you take on you start. It's like you're carrying. I don't know if you ever seen those. They do them when the new year comes, when the woman holding the bag going into year after year. It's like
Yeah.
that. Like, what are you picking up as you go from circle to circle that you're taking with you to the next circle?
Yeah.
So that
Absolutely.
type of stuff matters, because what you're picking up, and it starts at home again. What you're picking up in those years or in those circles becomes a part of you until you decide to chip away at it.
True. You need to be my therapist, Keely. I've been searching for, no, seriously, I've been searching for a new therapist, and I was like, but I got therapists in my group. Like, I'm serious. You laugh, but I'm dead serious. Because I was like, I mean, look, at least I know I trust you already. I mean,
True.
I ain't worried about what I got to tell you. You pretty much know everything already. I just need to get it out. Just go ahead and dive,
You need an outlet.
purge it, just get it out. Because like
It's good for the soul.
it is, like you just said, that's probably why I felt like for a long time I didn't need therapy, because I talk to you all the time, and I have certain people in my circle that we get it out. So, and plus I'm very
Yes.
self-reflective. So for me,
Hmm.
it's every day. It's like I'm getting it every day. But there are things that you have to deal with. Like Like I can speak to the father not being their type of thing. Like when
Mhm.
I was a kid, yeah, I felt that, and I still like. I feel like I've released it at this point, but that is definitely something I can see has caused me to act out in certain ways, or
Mhm.
how I used to be very like this, like you're not getting in. Like
Mhm.
it just depends on the person, you know what I'm saying? That's real. We still do that if you do something that reminds me of him, or like
Yes.
of the. And I have no problems with my real father. Like honestly, actually, this coming up, I'm gonna write him a whole letter, and I mean, I'm just releasing him of any guilt he may have because I'm
That's
done with it.
important.
I have to release myself from that completely. So,
Yes.
this year I turned 33. It's my Jesus year, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't want to go into year 33 with any baggage, honestly. So, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and set that up so I can pay you and you can be my therapist, and we can just be good with that. For
I
real.
mean, and you speaking on something that I've been going through. I think the last couple of years. Well,
Mhm.
actually since 2011, but really within the last couple of years, the father
Yeah.
thing. Like I said, rejection was a part of me when I was younger,
Real.
and I could not figure out why. And I mean, I would find pictures of my dad, but my mom would never talk about him. I
Mhm.
mean, she would tell me that I was very smart, like her and my dad, but that was about it. And it wasn't until I met him in 2011, and even then, once I came back to Texas, he disappeared
Yeah.
again. And he does a great job of popping up randomly. Like I could pray for him, and I do pray for him because he has his own. There's a lot of demons that he's fighting himself,
Yeah.
but he pops in and out, in and out. And so I used to find myself getting really upset about it. And when I would get upset, it would manifest physically. Like it wouldn't just be like I'm pissed off at him and I go on. I would become really rude or really
Wow.
distant.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want my husband to touch me. Don't talk to me. Leave me alone, because I used to have that feeling of you're gonna be like him.
Yeah.
You're gonna come in, love on me, act like you care. Oh, daddy's here, or oh, husband's here. Swoop in and act like you love me, and then you gonna
You're
disappear.
gonna bounce. Yep. I feel that.
Yeah,
Even with
yeah,
friendships, like honestly,
yes.
I used to be a people pleaser. At this point, I really, mm-mm. If you
Mm-mm.
if you interrupting my peace, it's a wrap. Like red flag, bye.
Got
But
to go.
got to go. But yeah, like as a child, I definitely was a people pleaser, and definitely had like, I guess, I don't know if you want to say attachment issues, or like where you just, that's my friend, like
Mhm. Mhm.
declaring those type of things. Like I definitely went through a phase of like, you either with me or you not type of thing. And I had to
Yeah.
realize like, bro, you don't own these people. Like like you don't own them. And
It
that's
became
that.
personal
Hmm.
because they were your mine. Your mine
Yeah.
because you're here with me. I want you to just be with me. It's about me.
Yeah.
It's about me.
Had to clear that up real quick because that ain't it. That ain't it, sis. It's not, because it's like I don't want nobody doing me like that either. And I've experienced that too, where it's like, no, you my friend. Like I'm like, but bro, I'm gonna spread my wings. Like I don't want to just be your
I
friend.
mean, I've watched that happen even with family members, like become very
Hmm.
possessive.
That's
I
the
said
word I was looking
possessive. I
for.
mean,
What did
yeah,
I say?
become very
Attachment.
possessive. And I tell anybody, just a caveat: when you get married, you marry your in-laws too.
Everybody, you
So
marry. I check the
you
family
you
out,
you pay attention, because some
please.
stuff didn't manifest for me until I've been married almost 6 years. So you're 5, and I'm looking at
6.
in-laws like y'all crazy, man. Yes, this is year 6.
Wow.
Yep.
Jesus. Anywho, that's crazy. That's
Yes,
it. It
year
went
6.
fast.
It did. I told him the other day. I was like, we've been married 6 years. We've been friends for well over 10 years,
Yeah,
and been together 8 years
that's
all
good.
together.
Y'all have a
Yeah,
good
I was like,
foundation. He knows exactly who you are.
I told him that. I said, "You a good man, cause whoo man, whoo,
It's a good man, Savannah. It's a good
a
man.
good man."
Nah. Well, I want to ask you this: since we are living in the digital world, um, how do you feel social media is impacting our youth and or us too? Like, how's it impacting relationships and connections?
That is a twofold question. Because
It is.
on the one end, especially since quarantine has been going on, I think we realizing that you can maintain relationships through
Absolutely.
through social media and through the digital world,
Mm-hmm.
because now even older people, like my grandpa is 70. He was like, "Hey, you need to download the Duo app." I'm like, "What is that?" And
Duo.
you gotta like, what is that? And what, you barely know how to work your phone. And he was, that way I can video message you.
Oh,
Back in the day, it would be, can you just write me a letter? You
yeah.
know,
I
and
still
wait
love
a
that
week.
though.
I do too. I do too.
Beautiful.
But I think it's helpful in some situations. But I do think for the younger generation, if not careful, it can be a tool of danger, because
Yeah.
they have so much information and access.
Yeah.
And it is for us too, not just the younger generation. I shouldn't say it just like
Just
that, but
everyone.
because their brain hasn't fully developed yet, they're getting a lot of access to a lot of things that their brain can't even process.
Yeah.
So they're really becoming traumatized at young ages, or becoming indoctrinated with certain things at young ages, and then you're starting to see that surge of, with our self-esteem, it was usually at school. There was the pretty girls, and then there was this. Now it's on social media. These people look great. Like I need to do this and I need to do that to get those likes, to get that much views, to get that
Yeah.
much attention. Um, it's so bad. I have a girl that we spent an hour and a half was supposed to be talking about her depression, which I guess it kind of mixed, where she was complaining about her having an Android versus her having an iPhone,
It's a real
and
deal
the
out here.
quality of the quality of the video. And then she said, "I won't even post on my social media because people are gonna know that I have an Android." I was
Oh,
like, "What?"
God. You
I was
know,
like, "Why?" She said, "Because the quality sucks."
oh, look, let me not say all like that. Look, let me be real. We all know that it's a battle between Android and iPhone. For us, it's a joke, but for them, it's like a
It's
real
real
life
life.
issue. Like,
It
wow.
is.
Just like having a flip phone.
It is. Yeah. It really
Dang.
tied into her. And when I thought about it first, I was like, this has nothing to do with depression. I was like, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because
Hmm.
that's a part of the identity thing. Like
Yeah,
she feels like her identity is tied up into people that she can't see. Some of them
yeah.
she may have seen at school, but a lot of them are people she can't even see.
Never met.
And yeah, never met, and how they're viewing the quality of the video. Not what she put in the video, the quality of the
Yeah.
video, or the quality of the picture.
Makes me sad. That makes me so
It
sad
is.
because it's like at the end of the day, like whoever is like stewarding over that kid or like being the shepherd over that
Mm-hmm.
sheep has to instill in them like the value of knowing oneself and like what's important in
Yes.
life. So it's like, yeah, I get that that may alienate you a little bit because you don't have an iPhone, but like that's not the value that you bring. You know, that's an
Mhm.
add-on. A cell phone is an
Mhm.
add-on. We need to start teaching the kids what's foundationally inside of them already versus
And
the add-ons.
I tell people a lot that um some generations, not that they failed our kids, somewhere along the lines, it became more about giving our kids stuff
Hmm.
than teaching them the value, teaching them values. Like I didn't get a cell phone until I was 14, but because
Yeah,
I got one, my little sister had to get one at 10.
10. Yep. Yeah, we're the products of that generation.
Mhm.
Because honestly, let's be real. Well, my mama wasn't like, I ain't gonna lie, my mama was not like that. She was like, look, we're gonna get what we can afford. but
Exactly,
but she did
exactly.
but she did always want to give us more than she ever had. And I think she did a great job of balancing it out with physical things and emotional support. Um,
Mhm.
but some parents just focus on the products and like producing things versus handling the emotion. And you set your kid up for failure because they become entitled.
Yes.
And yeah, once they become entitled, it's like you don't even know who that person is no more. Like
Yeah. Oh, if I
let
had
things
a
get
dollar
hard.
every time. if I had a dollar every time I thought about that, even with my baby sister. So some
Yeah.
people may know, I've that's my baby. She's 16 and she's been mine since she came into this world. But
Yeah.
even when I look at how she and I actually have deep conversations. This kid could have everything you can imagine. Like Sadie got everything. I go in
Yeah.
her room and I'm like, that's a new TV. And it's mounted on the wall. Back in the day, my mom wouldn't even let me put a poster on the wall. Couldn't even hang a
Ain't
poster.
it crazy?
It's crazy. So she has all this stuff. And so one day she and I were just talking about just, the difference between my house and my parents' house. Cause she like when she's over here, she's very social. When she's at home, she's not so social. And so
Wow.
we talked about it. And I said, what? I said, they give you whatever you want. What do you mean? Why are you in your room all the time versus coming downstairs and being social? Here, you sharing a room with a 4-year-old, but you come out your room and we talk and we joke. And she said the difference is y'all don't fill me with stuff. Don't get me wrong, I buy her a lot of stuff, but you don't fill me with stuff. She said, when I come out, you talk to me. Like we joke, like we
Attention.
interact.
Yep.
Yeah, she gets the attention. And I said, well, you get attention at home because they give you whatever you want. And to me, I guess because I'm the oldest, to me, it's like, I ain't get none of this. I had to like work.
We be
I had to
resentful.
work.
We low key be
Yeah.
resentful because it's like I
Yeah.
can honestly say that with a whole heart. Like, I mean, I'm the youngest child, but I have a whole nephew. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you do see the difference between how things went from it was your big brother, then it was me, and then it was him. Like, you see the difference of how things are ran.
Hmm.
So you do feel resentful, even though you have to realize like this is a different time too.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I had to check myself numerous times, like with that, because I mean, true, it just is what it is.
I think that was a part of the identity thing for me too. I had to grow up
Yeah,
really fast.
yeah,
So,
same here.
I became, yeah, I had to grow up really fast. I had a lot of responsibilities at 16 that she doesn't have to worry about now.
Just
And
chilling.
so, yeah, she just be chilling.
Whew.
Like with her car, I was like, you got a car that's paid for. I was over here paying off my car
Brand
at
new car.
16. Yeah, I was buying you school clothes when I was 16. Like it was crazy.
Same
But
here.
when I talked to her about just getting her viewpoint of identity, being 16 and social media, like mixing those two things. Because I'm like, some of the stuff you post on social media, I'd be like, why are you doing that? You
Yeah,
doing it for attention?
trying
Or
to
and
fit
she's like,
in.
that's what everybody does.
Yeah,
That's what everyone does. And I'm noticing it's even younger. You got 7 and 8-year-olds with Snapchats, bro.
and TikTok. Let me tell you something.
TikTok. TikTok is
TikTok
not a kid's app
at
like it
all.
used to be.
At all. My one of the kids I nanny for, I got a lot of nanny babies, and one of them was in the back seat. I listen to certain stations when she's in the car with me because I just I try to keep her away from. I listen to everything. So I was
Yeah.
trying to keep her. Then Savage came on. She in the back seat. I'm a savage. Yeah. I was like, hold on. You don't even know what that means. She was like,
I
it's on
mean,
TikTok. It's on TikTok.
how do you have? But then they have phones at that age too, so they have.
She don't have a phone.
Oh,
She about to get one though.
see, I guess,
Yeah.
and I because I know how it affects. And a lot of people may say I'm old school. Amaya has an iPad. Yes, she cannot download anything on there without me.
Yeah.
Like she can't. And then even when last weekend she was with my sister, I also know my child's very gifted, so I'm very careful about what I expose her to. And a lot of
Yeah.
that's a message for even if you're a young parent, old parent, I don't care. If you're a
Mm-hmm.
parent, your kids have gifts. If you're not
Many.
careful, the way you treat them, you can strip them of their gifts at a young age,
Yeah.
and it takes years for them to recover. I know because I'm a product of it.
Yeah.
I was very, very gifted. And when I say gifted, I mean in a spiritual sense.
Yeah.
Um, and it was stripped from me at a young age. And I didn't recover it until like 2 years ago. So that tells you a lot. But
Yeah.
even with Amaya, she was hanging out with my sister, both my sisters and my niece, and they're like, oh, they're dancing to music. I was like, what kind of music she dancing to? Because we careful about that.
Yeah.
Certain people she can listen to, some people she can't. She's
Yeah,
4.
before. Honestly, it's like with the world that we live in, things are so open. We have access to so much stuff, and like people kind of disregard barriers that needs
Yes.
to happen. Like honestly, like even as an adult, like boundaries don't stop unless you stop them. I personally have put boundaries on myself because I'm like, I know me. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get so consumed in certain things when I know I have work to do, and you have to prioritize things accordingly to what they, how they need to go. That's adulting. You know how
Yeah, it is.
we switch from being like, well, it makes me feel good, I'm gonna have fun, it's cool, I'm trying to do this, to okay, I want to accomplish this goal. How do I get there? I'm gonna prioritize my time, my actions, and the people
Mm-hmm.
that I have in my circle to make sure that I get to that goal. Anything deterring me
Yes.
from that is a problem. So when you're adult, you switch, and we have to teach
And
that.
as I say, kids don't have that ability to switch. You have to like
You
you
have to
have to
instill
literally
it.
instill that in
Yeah,
them.
I
Yeah.
feel like I do that every day at work. So like with every kid that I work with, they ask me certain questions like, "Why do you do this? Why do you do that?" Because I want to fulfill what I want to fulfill. So in order to do
Mm-hmm.
that, I have to do it. My mama can't do it for me. And
Yeah.
that's what scares me. It's like y'all so entitled and enabled to be like this that when we want you to like step up and have a voice and do it, they don't have a voice because you didn't instill that, or you didn't give
Yeah.
them permission, and they haven't given themselves permission to be out. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
So I do think that that's something we definitely have to work on with our kids. What would you tell a parent right now that's raising kids? What is one or two things that they can do to make sure that they don't stifle their kids' growth?
Um, Being that some people consider me a new parent because my daughter is 4. One of the things is allow your child to have a voice. Kids pay closer attention to things than you do
They
as
do.
adults because we're so consumed with all of our responsibilities. Allow your kid to have a voice. And when I say have a voice, a lot of times we tell our kids, shut up, you don't know, you don't know this, you don't know that, but they're paying attention.
They
So one
are.
of the things I tell people, allow your baby to have a voice, even if it's something as simple as they want to wear a certain outfit to the store, because what you're essentially doing is, one, you're teaching them to be themselves.
Yeah.
You're teaching them that they don't have to conform to what looks. Now I ain't saying let baby go out here dirty.
You
I
better
want to
let
wear
her
these
wear
dirty
that Elsa
clothes.
dress. Let her wear that Elsa
Exactly.
dress.
Amaya comes out. Some days she got on polka dots with a stripy shirt. It be looking weird, but guess what? If that what that also does is it fuels their confidence.
Yeah.
It fuels their confidence because they're like. The interesting thing was, I ain't the best parent in the world. I ain't gonna lie, I yell, but I
Yeah.
have my days, I have my moments.
Everybody does.
But one of the things I was most proud of was last weekend. Um, I was getting my hair done, and the girl asked Amaya a question about her ability to do something. Amaya looked at her and said, "I can do anything,"
Oh,
and walked off. And the girl was like, "What'd you just say?" She said,
that's
"I
right, chocolate
said
chip.
I can do anything," and she walked completely off like it was nothing. And I was like,
Drop the mic on her.
"Thank God." Because I remember being that kid where I was like, well, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know. I question. She's
Yeah.
very confident and she's going to keep
Good.
trying until she gets it. And the other
Beautiful.
thing I will say is, of course, I'm all for, like I said, I'm all for allowing your kids to have a voice, but teach them boundaries.
Yeah.
Teach them even as young as they are.
Yeah.
Teach them boundaries. And don't get me wrong, in some situations, boundaries are going to be tested by grown folk when they go to school and things like
Yeah.
that. But teach your kid boundaries, because I think what I'm noticing is a lot of kids have had their boundaries um, broken. And I
Yeah.
don't mean that just physically, but even emotionally, even mentally.
Yeah.
Um, and then that's when you get a generation of kids that don't know how to handle life.
Yeah. Yeah.
People think that, you know, they don't need to know how to handle life at age 4, 5, 6. They do, to a certain
Yeah.
extent.
It's true.
They need to have their boundaries. And that means you as a parent learning to respect that boundary as well.
Yeah.
Just because you're the parent, it doesn't give you the okay to do certain things or say certain things towards your kid, because parents can become their kids' first bully.
That's true. That's true. And you gotta let your kids fail sometime too. Which brings me to
Man, please.
which brings me to what you said in the book. You said in chapter 2, you said life's process never goes the way we intended to. Life is a bunch of random puzzle pieces that doesn't look like it will create a masterpiece, but it fits together just right to create something unique. That made me think of the failures, the successes, the trauma, the
Yes.
drama. All of that comes
Yes.
together to make you who you are. Like, it's a part of the process. You have to have it, because if
Yes.
you didn't know bad, you wouldn't know good.
Amen.
So I think it's important to talk about that a little bit, because for some odd reason, Gen Z think that they shouldn't fail at anything. Like, failure is just like, I mean, even millennials, even our group, like, they feel
Yeah.
like failure is just like the worst thing in the world. I'm like, bro, look at here. I'm gonna try everything, and if I fail, I learn a new tool that I can use, because I have experience to work it through.
Exactly.
If I succeed, I just learned that it's something more that I can do. So it's like thinking of it from growth mindset versus fixed.
Yes. And I think, and here I'll do it from me.
Yeah.
When I wrote that, I was thinking about me and all the things I had been through, and all the times that I never shared my story, because I wanted people to. I still struggled with that people pleasing mentality of having people think that I was the perfect person.
Right.
Um, and it could be misconstrued to a lot of people that I was the perfect kid.
Yeah.
Um, but had I not failed at a lot of things, I wouldn't be able to be nobody's therapist, because I would
No.
not be able to understand nor empathize. I'm not about to walk around here and let anybody think that Keely was perfect,
At all.
because even if things were done to me, I did things to people as well.
We all have.
I dropped the ball in college. I wasn't a straight A student all the time.
Mm-mm.
I ain't go to class all the time. I didn't,
We
even
showed
as a
didn't.
wife,
We showed did.
party too hard, can't make it to that class. But
Yeah.
even as a wife, I fail. I fail sometimes as a wife. And a lot of people think like, oh, you shouldn't say that. It is true.
It's true.
A part of that, the thing about it is, if you made a success of everything in your life, you will be looking like, first of all, you you ain't Jesus. You're not God.
That's the
You're
only
not
perfect
perfect.
person. Only
Perfect person.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if everybody was allowed to succeed at every single thing in life, we would be such a cookie cutter generation. It's ridiculous. No
Yeah.
one would look like you, and your testimony wouldn't be no good. Oh,
No.
you're knocking. That's Amaya.
It's okay. And also nothing with the Big Chick, come in. You want
No.
mother? Oh, you said no. Chocolate chip. Well, you need me to
We can pause it.
yeah, hold on, let me pause it. She said now. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that with everything that goes on and like all the stuff we take in, from the media to social media to people we deal with on a daily basis, people can really, really be suffering in silence from depression. And I think that everybody's had their bouts with depression. They just haven't really said it out loud or accepted that that's what it was. Um, but I think it's important to try to tell people some of the signs of depression, and then like some of the coping skills that you can do to like fix it. So what advice would you give us for those things?
Before I do that, let me let everyone know. One thing I've learned is that um, mental health is on a continuum.
Mm-hmm.
There is no person that's more mentally healthy. It just depends on the circumstances in your life. Like, if
Right.
someone passes away, you're not going to be as mentally well as you were, when things are going okay. It just
True.
depends. But you're right. Everyone's had a experience with depression. Um, some can be clinical, and some it's part, it's life. It's a
Yeah.
circumstantial thing. One of the signs I would say is if you've noticed that out of 7 days, at least 3 to 4 days out of that week, you've isolated, or your appetite is either up or down. Because I think a lot of people think when you're depressed you don't eat, but some people actually either eat a lot or
Eat a
they don't
lot.
eat at all, or you just notice a change in your appetite, or you're withdrawing, or even that, the motivation to not just get out of bed, but just the motivation to do anything becomes harder and harder for you.
Yeah.
um those can be some telltale signs. Also, if you start to notice that your thoughts, and we suffer, some people suffer with negative thoughts, but if you notice that your thoughts are more negative than usual, to the point where you're kind of cynical about things, like about life in general, that could be a telltale sign. And one of the biggest things is sleep. And I
Mm.
know this for sure with teenagers. So if you're the parent or guardian or whoever of a teenager and you think that they're just lazy because they're sleeping a lot, you got to pay attention to that, because it could be a physical health thing, low iron and all this stuff. But sometimes that's the best way to deal with life, is to just sleep the day away.
Yeah.
And I've learned that over the years. And some
Yeah.
of the things you can do to help with that is, even though you don't have the motivation, even if all you do that day is get up and go take a shower and change your pajamas and lay back down, that's a step. I
Yeah.
know that we discount the small things. If you went from not eating any meals to you ate one meal or half a meal, that's a step. Doing something so small as, like, when we were in quarantine, a lot of people struggled with not being able to leave their house.
Mhm.
Um, Going in your backyard, if you have a backyard. If you don't
Mhm.
have a backyard, you know, going to check the mail, or stepping outside and getting some type of fresh air.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that I found that's helpful is, I call it thought dumping. So that's
Yeah.
literally me writing down every single thought that comes to my head, even if it's not good.
Yeah.
Because when it stays up here and it don't come out, I'm sleeping with it. I'm walking through the house with it. But if I write it down and dump it out, and sometimes people have to read it aloud for themselves,
Yeah.
and just realizing what you're saying or what's going on in your head, it helps you to process it better.
That's
When
true.
you're well enough, you can go back and look at it and say, I wonder why I was feeling like that, or, oh, now I know why I was feeling like that.
Then you identify different cycles too. Like you identify
Yes.
stuff like triggers and things that you may not even have noticed that triggers you.
And usually, just like our dreams, when people have dreams and they write them out, and usually your dreams kind of tell a story, or your dreams kind of match up to something. It's the same thing with the thoughts that run through your head when you're dealing with depression. A
Yeah.
lot of it has a big theme. When you
Yeah.
look at it all on paper, you're kind of like, all of this was related to this.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. I think you know what demographic I work with. I work with a lot of students and a lot of student athletes, and people misidentify. I believe student athletes, like they feel like because they get all this fame and all of this attention that um, they should be happy, or that they
Hmm.
grateful for what they have, and nobody realizes how much work the workload that these kids have to do. Like they're working
Yes.
sometimes. I'm not even over exaggerating, like 60, 80 hours a week. Like you're going to
Hmm.
school, you're going to practice, you're going to resistance training, you're going to eat, you're going to get your
Yeah.
body worked on. You
Yeah.
getting, you got to deal. Some of them got the audacity to have a relationship. Like you doing all of that. Like it's a, and they have to come see us. Like you go to your tutoring sessions and they got a schedule. They got a schedule.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think people don't understand that it really does take a toll on them. Like they're not happy all the time. And they're in a
No.
bubble, literally in a bubble. Like everybody's looking at them, pointing their fingers, and like, I have to be perfect because all these people watching me, the university watching me. Like, it's not a fun place to
Yeah.
be in if you don't know who you are. So I will say this to student athletes, just it's important for you to know your why, and it is important for you to know who you are as an individual and what's important to you. because when you
Yes.
know those things, you can focus and feed off of that versus feeding off of the positive and negative information you get from other people. You have to
Hmm.
focus on you and only you, God and you. That's it.
That pressure to perform is
It's
real.
real.
And like you said, and even what I'm noticing is it's not just, you're not pressured to perform. I thought I, yeah, see, that pressure to perform is not just for school, like education wise, and your coaches. Sometimes it's for your family, because if you're
Across the
the one
board.
person, if you're the first person to go to college in your family, and you
Yeah,
go on a scholarship, not only is your family rooting for you or wanting you to make it because you're the first person to go, that's what they're hoping that that sport, some families are hoping that that sport carries you on to be more famous and more popular. And so you have that pressure to perform, because if I don't, I'm gonna let my family down. Some of them, I've even noticed some of the high school kids that I'm working with that play sports,
yeah.
they treat it like, if I don't do this, my family won't eat. And I'm like, baby, you a teenager. What you mean?
I mean, I think it's crazy too. Like, just the motivation that goes behind being an athlete. I was an athlete and I never felt that pressure to be great like that because my mom basically was like, look, you doing this because you love it. And I think a lot of athletes have to get back to that mentality. And I'm gonna say this, and some people, parents might not like this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. As a student athlete or as an adult, you're not obligated to take care of anybody. You're not
At
obligated.
all.
Do it out of the kindness of your heart and because God told you to honor your family, honor your parents and stuff like that. Like, it should be something that you do because you want to do it. You're not obligated to take care of anyone. If somebody gave you something at the beginning of your time, like, that was their choice. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there is no like I got to give you something back. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was their choice. They made the decision to invest in you. Now, I would love for
Exactly.
you to reciprocate, you know what I'm saying? And be, generous and give your family things and help them out. But you have to be careful. You have to have boundaries on that because if
Yes.
you're not taking care of you, and I mean mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, you have nothing to pour into someone else. You have to handle your business first and then you can pour out. But if you don't fill yourself up, you cannot do it. They pouring from an empty cup,
Mm-hmm.
literally all of them. And I'm like, you got to get yourself together first. Even when it comes to taking calls and text messages, like when you at school, sometimes you got to cut this stuff off.
Yes, it's definitely, and I think they feel that pressure to, I gotta do this, I gotta be available. No, you
You
don't.
don't to
If
anybody.
that's your one day, if that's your one day where you're not practicing, you're not in school, and all you need to get something done, or you need to rest,
Hmm.
rest. It's okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
a set of time. Like for
Yeah.
me, I ain't gonna lie, when I was in school, I worked a million jobs. So it's like I have my me time. Like I had to do that. It's like for this hour, nobody gets in. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's me and God at this time. I'm not that's, you have to do that for yourself, even if it's 10 minutes, like
Yes.
5 minutes, 2 minutes, that walk outside, whatever. Take some time for yourself. Then you can go back to the world and fight the world. But you have to get yourself together and know that you're not disappointing anybody. You just have to do what you got to do for you. And if they get mad and they leave, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
them exit stage left because they're not here for you anyway.
You can't, you have to take on what we usually do within the field of social work is, you have to take a whole person approach.
Yeah,
You have to take a whole person approach. You can't just look at one compartment and just focus, I mean, at a time, yes, but you need to look at the whole person,
yeah,
because you can't be physically ready but not mentally ready. Think about going into a game and you got all this energy, yet your
yep.
mind ain't on the game.
Right. You just out there messing
You
up
just out
like
there.
what's his name that played for Cleveland? That played for Cleveland. Uh, hey, I can't even think of his name right now, but he was supposed to go the other direction. He passed the ball, and LeBron was so mad. They had a little bit of seconds on the clock.
You got all this energy,
all this energy, just pointless
But
energy.
mentally, you're not there. Like you're not good for anyone when you're operating like that.
Mm-mm.
You're
And
definitely not good for yourself. You're gonna burn out.
you will. I had to learn that for myself too, because I mean, I've been in that space where I'm like, you want to keep up a persona, and it's like, this is not you.
Mm-hmm.
I had to tell my Trini, this is not you, and I had to learn that I can't compete with other people. I don't
Mm-hmm.
compete. I don't compete, Keely, like in any sense of the word. I used to be like that in high school, where I was like, I did want it to be the best, but I also had to realize, bro, you might not be the best at this. Like, I was good, but you have to know your role and play your role. Like, I was a role
Exactly.
player. I feel like I did certain things great. So until I started focusing on the things I did great, I was struggling. But when I
Mm-hmm.
started realizing that rebounding and motivating my team was my ministry, I did those great.
And then at the
So,
end of the day, you contributed to the outcome of the success that came with
mm-hmm.
it.
Well, we weren't that successful, but I'll just play. I'll
There
just play.
was some type of success in there.
No, we did. We had a few. We did good. It was all right. We wouldn't state champs or nothing, but I enjoyed my time, and I love sports, and I'm always be around sports. So I just want student athletes to really like understand that you have more power than you think you have, and it's important that you
Yes.
know who you are and really hone in on that, because God gave you that platform, man, for a reason. Y'all
Yes.
are going to be
Yes.
life changers, and I mean that in the biggest sense, revolutionaries in real life.
Yes.
Because people hear you and they listen to you and they follow you. Like you probably got millions of followers already, and you just a freshman in college. Like it's insane how much clout
Mm-hmm.
they have. Like, and they haven't even touched the floor yet.
I mean, it's insane how many young kids even know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
If them
You
kids grew up in that school district and watched you go through high school, those
absolutely.
kids, even I get on to my little sister about this. She going
Mm-hmm.
into her junior year with volleyball. Amaya now is all about I'm gonna play volleyball when I get older. And I tell
Just
my
because she's
sister,
seen her.
it's because of you.
Yeah.
It's because of how
Influence.
you portray yourself, how you work hard. Because she'll tell people all the time, "Oh, my TT's at home sleep because she went to practice this morning."
Oh, she's proud of her, man.
She's very proud of her. And
It's
so I have to
beautiful.
remind her of that. And I'm like, but at the same time, if you get to a point where volleyball is not for you, that's okay. But just don't forget that that platform was really important and you built your
Mm-hmm.
character on the court mattered, your character mattered. And so even if you quit the sport down the line, you built something, some type of inspiration into some child.
Right. That's why I say, it's okay to gain inspiration or like fuel from knowing that you have influence.
Mm-hmm.
Like looking at the people that you impact, and like understanding that there are people watching me. You can flip that switch from being a pressure point to being empowering.
Yes.
Like that's you be like, okay, I gotta hold myself to a higher standard because I want to be better, because I know people are watching me and I have influence, versus, man, everybody watching me, I can't mess up. I mess up, don't nobody
Yep.
eat. That simple switch
Mm-hmm.
changes your whole personality on like how it impacts you. And then you're able to be fueled from that forever, because that's legacy.
You're right.
It's a simple switch. And I think more coaches need to make sure they're teaching their students that, versus you're the star player, get it done. Okay, my G, I'm tired today. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta teach those kids that you can't just think that that's gonna just be innate. You have to instill that.
You do. And I mean, and that goes into that building of character and your identity. When you know,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm good at this, but I'm also, my platform is, I'm good at this. Yes, I'm good at this sport. It's not about me making it for someone else to eat. This is about me changing how people see me, or changing how people see the sport, or just changing how someone's perspective, of the sport, or just changing their perspective, period.
Yeah,
Like you said, it's that simple little switch.
yeah.
It's
What would
that
you
simple little switch.
what would you say? What would you say about how a student athlete or a student, we can talk about regular students too, how they should use their platform, like especially when it comes to like things that are happening in America, like what would you say is the best way for them to channel their anger into something productive? Because that's something that is really prominent right now. Like, they feel like they shouldn't speak. Some of them feel like they shouldn't speak because they're scared they're going to lose their scholarship, or they're scared they're going to mess something up. So what would you say to them?
I feel I look at it like this. If God gave you that platform, he intended for you to use it. That doesn't mean that you're not going to lose something in the process, because you got to lose something to gain something bigger. So what if
Right.
it's like I don't know if people have seen a picture on social media of the little kid holding the teddy bear, like, God, I want it. And God has a bigger teddy bear behind his back. Like, if you just give this to me, I'm going to give you something bigger.
Yeah.
So if you're if and I understand that fear of, man, I'm gonna lose a scholarship, like that goes back to that pressure sometimes from family, the letdowns, all these other things. God gave you a platform to speak,
Yeah.
and if he put that unction in you, like, you need to say something, you need to say something, because it affects you. It also affects the people behind you. So if you
Yeah.
know that this one situation is causing you anger and it's causing you to be uncomfortable and it's not good for you, it's not good for the people that look like you, that means you need to speak on it, because guess what? You might lose that opportunity, but somebody else gonna give you an opportunity. Can
Yeah.
guarantee you that.
Yeah.
But
Look
you're
at
not just
Kaepernick.
doing it. You're not just doing it for you at that
Yeah.
moment. I think a lot of times when we feel that pressure, it's a self thing,
Yeah.
but we forget that there's people that have to come behind us.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to lay that path for it, just like our ancestors did for us. Like, I talk about flipping from me to we all the time. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you, it's, it's never just about you. It's always bigger than you.
Yes,
Everything you do has the ability to like transfer energy. So
it does.
I just think that when it comes to having a platform, if you've been blessed enough to have a platform and for people to like really like listen to you, you don't have a choice. It's like, it's your responsibility at that point to be, I mean, even if it's not the popular vote, say something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. Like, I just don't want them to be muffled or feel like these people who give you this opportunity, which they really didn't really give you that opportunity. Your talent granted you that
You
opportunity,
did.
and God gave you that opportunity. They don't have the power to keep you from everything,
No.
because I mean, God can make anything happen.
I
So
mean, and if you really look at it, I say they, like the system, they need you more than
they
you
need
need
you.
them.
They do. Because if y'all
They need
all
you.
walked out,
They wouldn't have anything.
there is no
So at
NFL
that point,
without you. There is no
and
NCAA without you.
we were talking, me and Chris were talking about that one day. I was like, if imagine if everyone got together and used their voice in their platform, man,
Over
you're
with
talking about eradicating some systemic issues, like,
everything.
man.
And I hope I'm alive to see that. Like, I'm
Yes.
hopeful, but I know how things have gone in the past, but I'm very hopeful that things will shift a little bit and people really will understand. For one, Black people, I hope that we understand how powerful we are as a culture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you have people surveying Africa to tell you how you should attack them, I think you know you powerful at that point. Um, and then, but some people still don't get it. Like, this is not a hindrance. I would never choose another culture to be. Like, I would always choose Black. Even if I had the choice, I would be like, I want to be Black.
Well,
Just
and I think
just
that for
do.
years it goes back to those stigmas that they've placed on Black culture.
Yeah.
So I realized that even in my job, when things started coming up, it was really hard for me. It was a piece of me. I was broken. I was like, bro, this is heavy. My
Yeah.
agency wasn't addressing it the way that I felt like they should have addressed it. It was a
Yeah.
lot of feelings I had, but something in me was like, you have to say something.
Have to.
And I told my coworkers, I just warned them. I said, I don't care if I come off as an angry Black woman in the room. I don't care if I look like I'm just stirring up stuff because you're uncomfortable. I have to talk about it because it's not just for me. We serve minorities.
Yeah.
My job. So guess what? I'm speaking for those kids who can't speak for themselves. I'm
Yeah.
speaking for the moms who cannot speak to us for themselves.
Yeah.
So I decided to speak up in 2 meetings. And so I didn't realize that by me just opening up and being honest, a girl was like, if you had have never forced the conversation, the agency has decided to email everyone and ask, what can we do as an agency to address racial injustices in the community with our clients? She said,
Yeah,
no one would have ever asked that question.
because
And
it
I
don't
was
hit
like,
the same way with them. It doesn't. It
yeah, no,
doesn't hit the same way, and that's okay. But you got to do something.
just from me just forcing a conversation, and all I did was tell how I felt.
Yeah, nobody know. Like you, people have to realize this too. If you don't address it, you don't bring it to people's attention, it's gonna be like this under here. Like it's gonna keep flying under the
Mm-hmm.
radar. Like, especially if it does not directly impact that group of people.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I know some people see it and some people know. Like, let's just be real. Some people know that they have the power to kind of invoke pain on other cultures, clearly. But I just think that it's important that we really do boss up and start using our voice, because if they're gonna kill us in the streets for nothing, you might as well be boisterous about
I was about to
be
say
bo-
you can't
yeah,
say that you didn't say can't say that I went out quiet.
that's what I'm saying. And I mean, at this point, you have to quit trying to secure this American dream that they promised everyone that's not for everyone. Like, you just have to, you got to speak up for what
That's
you
good.
believe in, man. At this point, it's like, I'm tired of trying to be politically correct at this point. And everybody in my job know. Like, I mean, we've talked, like, certain people checked in on me, like certain people, I respect them wholeheartedly, will forever love them because they went out of their way. But some
Mm-hmm.
people didn't contact me till after they had the group session. You know what I'm saying? Until you heard
Yeah.
me say how my students feel and how I feel about it. But I think that's
Yeah.
interesting. I think
I
you
have a
that's
I have a
interesting.
coworker who actually has she's turned her in-laws upside down, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
And she said it's to the point where they don't even want to celebrate my kid's birthday with me. And it hurt
Wow.
my heart, but at the same time, she said, and I don't regret any of it. Because
Good.
if you're going to want me to conform to your sick way of thinking, and she's like, and my kid, I have brown skinned children. She's like, you want me to conform to the way your sick way of thinking and think I'm gonna apologize for feeling like everyone should have basic human rights? She was like, I don't need you around my children.
No, it's just not
And she
cool.
stood on that. She stood
And
on that.
that's great, and we need more people like her to stand on that, because at the end of the day, it's not, we didn't create racism. So we didn't create a lot of this systemic stuff that's happening. All we can do is like raise up and speak and try to give ways to like fix it. But ultimately, our hands are tied when it comes to that. It's gonna be the people who look like them. It's gonna be up for them to speak up and like hold their people accountable. Because at the end of the day, that we really need, we have to have our allies. Like, we can't do this by ourselves.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's what, and I mean, I just want to say that to the students too. Like, everybody that doesn't look like you is not bad. Like, honestly, like, there are great people that are from different cultures. Like, I'm not gonna judge another culture like they judge me. So I'm
Hmm.
gonna give you a chance to show me who you are. And once you show me who you are, and if it's not within the range of what I can deal with, I can't deal with you. Like, if you are violating my spiritual beliefs, like, if it's just interrupting my peace, I can't deal with it.
Hmm.
But I do want to encourage everyone to speak up about everything that bothers you. You have a voice. Your feelings are valid, and
Yes.
but you be mindful of how you deliver the information, because sometimes people can't relate because they don't understand you.
I always tell people that as well, my teens especially,
Hmm.
because they're like, I be trying to tell them how I feel. And I said, I'm not telling you to change what you're saying.
Yeah,
It's how you're saying that. I said,
just
because,
deliver it better.
and here's the other thing, and this is also a message out there for the student athletes that are willing to speak up. There's gonna be people out there that no matter how nice or how presentable you make things to them, they've already made up in their minds
Yeah,
how they're gonna receive the message.
yeah,
Your job is to deliver the message to the best of your abilities. Deliver the message with information, facts, and your feelings, because your feelings are valid. but accept that not every single person that you speak to is going to receive it the
They
way that
won't.
you're delivering it. You can
They
deliver
won't.
it in the most loving way, and they will twist it because that's their way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
And a lot of
True.
times it's because that makes them more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about you. They know what you're saying is true, but what's going to be more comforting for them?
Yeah, don't just do empty words either. It's important that you have a plan in place that like you know what demands you want, like or what to do, like have suggestions for how we can move forward. Because without an action plan, it's null and void. Like nobody
Mm-hmm.
cares. So you gotta be ready. Like you know how they say you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. Like if you know what you want, how you can achieve this goal and what you need, the resources you need, it's a lot easier to be able to convey what you're trying to say. So
Mm-hmm.
think it out, get with your people, like, connect and then like work together to fix it because at the end of the day, you can't let these people steal your joy. And you have to still maintain your lifestyle outside of everything that's going on. You have to handle that and still live because God
Yes.
still has you here for a reason. So you got a mission that you have to accomplish too, on top of race relations. But it's unfortunate, but I feel like at the end of the day, I wouldn't choose any other culture to be. I love other cultures. I'm not saying nothing bad about y'all, but I love being Black. I'm very prideful about it. And I believe that God definitely blessed us to be a very gifted people. And I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people know that. And that's why it's such a fight to make us feel human. You
It's
know what I'm
very
saying?
intimidating. It's
They're very,
intimidating.
it's crazy, but it
Mm-hmm.
is what it is. Well, I'm gonna ask you a few more questions and then we're gonna wrap it up. So my next question is, how do you define success?
Whew.
I know that's random, but I have to ask everybody this question before I end our calls.
That's a good question now.
Hmm.
I definitely, I'm different. I'm not gonna say I define my success just on my wins.
Right.
I've defined my success on my wins, my losses, the times I've even bowed out of a fight because I've
Yeah,
done that a lot.
that's
I've done
real.
that a lot where there's fights where they say pick and choose your battles, and I've chosen to not fight a battle. I even count that as part of the success because there's something powerful in stepping back when you need to. So I guess
Takes a
my
lot.
definition of success is going to go back to, like I said, the life processes, the different pieces of the puzzles, my wins, my losses, my gains, my failures, I'm gonna just take a knee on this
Literally.
one, literally take a knee on this one.
Hmm.
That's my definition of success. I don't look at it as what I have and what I don't have.
Oh,
Sometimes I do. I'm not gonna lie about that. When I say what I don't have, I'm glad that I don't have I'm glad that I don't have the fear that I used to have. That's
yeah.
a success for me.
Good. Okay, my next question. Do you believe your purpose is a journey or a destination?
Both,
Both? Okay.
both, both. Because my purpose, I know I'm in my calling right
Yeah,
now, and I know my purpose is to serve people. But I also know that I ain't quite done yet. I know God got some other stuff up his sleeves
hmm
when it comes down to it. So
yeah, I understand that. You're the first person to ever say both.
really,
Yeah.
it's both
See,
to me.
yeah, and I'm on the opposite side. I think that purpose is a journey because I
Okay.
feel like it continue. I feel like we live in our purpose every day when we step into whatever God's will is for us, and it can shift.
It's
You
true. It
know?
can. It
Yeah,
can.
but your answer is still good though. Like I feel like I can get what you're saying too. So,
Yeah, I
but
feel like once you get to the destination, you're it's gonna look totally different, of course, than where
hmm
you started, what you went through. So once you get to the destination, like you're still in that purpose. You
that's
just
true.
yeah,
That's true. And my last question: if you knew then what you know now, would you change anything?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't. Good.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change a thing. Sometimes I'd be like some of the knuckleheads I dated, but I
That's what
learned,
everybody said.
but I learned a lot about me
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a strength that I didn't know that I had. Like
Yeah,
I didn't resiliency that I didn't know that I had. Um, I just I wouldn't change a thing.
that's good. Yeah, because we're made up of all the people we've ever met and all the things that we've been through. So
Definitely.
I definitely agree. So, well, this has been wonderful. I'm excited. I got a new therapist, and we're gonna have to set up these appointments for real. I'm dead serious. That way we can get I gotta become whole. I feel
Whole
whole.
whole.
I feel whole right now. Like I'm not even gonna lie. I feel very well, I shouldn't say whole. I feel at peace because I feel like I'm
Yes.
in his will and I feel like I'm heading in the right direction. But yeah, I just know I always want to be working on self mastery. So
And I want people to know that just because you, as a therapist, don't mean that we're always together, because I have to do a lot of self reflection, even
no,
before I talk to certain people, even after certain conversations, because we people too.
and we gotta pray. We have to pray because everything you dump on us, we kind of empathize and we take that in. So we gotta, it's a cycle. But yeah, anyway,
Mm-hmm.
y'all make sure y'all go get my sister's book. I'm gonna show it again. Y'all see the pretty colors.
See me down at the bottom. My dreads
Yes,
are a lot longer now.
they sure are. Jeez. Um, but yeah, y'all make sure y'all check her out and thank you so much again for giving me your time.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. It's gonna help a lot of people.
I pray it does. Get what you need from it.
Yes. All right, bosses.
Bye.